it. I've been fighting for a minute and I'm really trying to win it. No, I do not got a label, but I am not independent. So no Satan gonna try to kill me every single minute. Man, I really be up in it. I got really good at sinning. Try to get me reminiscing like, look at what you're missing. Do you wanna be a Christian? Wouldn't you rather be tripping? Got some fish good for the sniffing. It's a weather down women like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I gotta go. God give me game. I cannot throw. I'm on a roll. Look at my God. God overall. Thinks he's the GOAT. Look what he wrote, homie. I was on doping and he gave me hope and a new way to cope. Now he walked by my side and he showed me the ropes. When enemy come, I'ma go for the throat. Cause I'm rapping the GOAT. Step on the enemy throat. Tell him that he gotta go. Already know. Walk through the fire and smoke. We don't perspire or choke. I'm rapping the GOAT. Step on the enemy throat. Tell him that he gotta go. Already know. Walk through the fire and smoke. We don't perspire or choke. I'm rapping the GOAT. Shed the fire, the furnace was blazing. Forgotten my sin, I'm forgiven, I'm blameless. Was drowning in debt, didn't think that I'd make it. My father, he bought me, I'm purchased, he paid it. I searched in the world, but my thirst wasn't sated. I worshiped the idol my mind had created. I fell into darkness, distraught and frustrated. I gave it to him and his light is invaded like, now boy, I'm freed and free. What you were seeing ain't me. Look at my God, I was addicted to C, followed by OKE. Ain't talking about pop, I still be looking at me. God got that armor on me, who gonna drop? I put my faith in JC, he is the GOAT. I'm rapping the GOAT, step on the enemy throat. Tell him that he gotta go, already know. Walk through the fire and smoke, we don't perspire or choke. I'm rapping the GOAT, step on the enemy throat. Tell him that he gotta go, already know. Walk through the fire and smoke, we don't perspire or choke. I'm rapping the GOAT.
Have you lost a close friend or family member to an overdose death? Or do you know someone who has? In Delaware, this scenario is all too common of an occurrence.
This used to be a Boys and Girls Club. Jax, this was the boundary line. You want to talk about race? They just built them houses where it says Heart of Hedgesville. Yeah. That used to be a Boys and Girls Club. They tore it down, right? And when you get to my old neighborhood, so this was all black, and this is Pleasant Street boys, right? Like the next street over is Pleasant Street. So this was all Hispanic and black when you get to Reed Street. Like the guy, Khalil, that I'm going to interview, that got the murder charge and got emancipated or whatever because he was juvenile conviction. Did like 20-something years down Smyrna. He's a stand-up dude, Muslim brother, stand-up though, awesome, you know, man of faith, like, you know, transformed, helps people now. But he grew up 10 blocks this way, and I grew up here, we're the same age, you know? And if you were caught on this was white, this was like a white Polish neighborhood. If you were caught here, past this, it was your butt, you know what I mean? If you were black, you weren't allowed over here. Oh, yeah. And if I was caught over there, it was my butt. But my generation changed it, like our generation, like the guys older than us that birthed us, it was real racial divide. Then as we grew older, like it was more of a melting pot. But like when I was a young kid, it was still known like this was a part of town, you weren't allowed it, like if you were a certain race. But now when you drive through here, this is one of the worst areas because it's unkept, because it was kept by the people. Now it's kept by the people another way, you know what I mean? It kind of changed. The last owner of this store before it was a Mexican store was a guy, an Arab guy, and he used to wear a gun on his hip. He said, I'm not going to take mine. You know, they shot him in his head, killed him in his store, yep. They shot him in his head in his store, and he said he was going to die for his, and he did. Jeez. Live by the sword, you die by the sword, and it's tough. But this is where I grew up at. My dad moved here in 1988. He bought this house, I'm going to show you. My house, 1105 Brown Street. These 3 garages. It's called the Bib Crib, 1105 right there, that's me. Same steps and everything. Bushes are growing back. There were shootings here, but not like there is now. There was 4 or 5 shootings. There was an execution style shooting in the one Dominican's house. They went in and killed everybody. Like there's the tracks right there. Like that's on the other side of the tracks, that's where all the riverfront stuff is. They just put this park swing set in. There's another park further down. But you can't do that in other parts of the city. Who that? Troy? How's it going down here? How's the people doing?
Man. Hey, yeah. I just came outside, I get some air. Just came, got me some can of Spam
Right, cook it up.
That's right. Cook it up, make me a sandwich or something, and I'm going to bed. Hey, sis, how you doing? I'm my knee, doing good. Therapy, good, man.
Well, come up and see us, baby.
I'll be there.
All right, brother.
I'll be there
Love
Wednesday, 6:30.
All right, cool.
I'll see you. All right, Zach. Be safe, brother.
God bless.
When we look at the number one cause of death for 18 to 45-year-olds in Delaware and the surrounding states, we find that opioid and fentanyl overdose has pushed ahead of gun violence to claim the top spot. This isn't just a regional change. Overdose is the number one cause of death in 18 to 45-year-olds nationwide. This substance epidemic continues to ravage our state and impact every aspect of community in Delaware. As a society, we are becoming numb to the new record number of overdose deaths in Delaware each calendar year as our state elected officials and so-called experts scramble to reproduce existing treatment models. Why does the pharmaceutical industrial complex continue to dominate the landscape of substance abuse treatment in our state and work against principle-based recovery programming? We are told how effective these treatment approaches are as the treatment recidivism rates and overdose rates continue to rise. With the frustration level boiling, we pause and reflect on how we got to this point of unmanageability as a state in hopes that we do not repeat the same patterns and expect different outcomes.
Before we get, if it's quiet, the light's good in here though.
Good afternoon, thank you for calling International. How can I help you? No, she'll be back shortly. She'll be back at 1 o'clock. You're welcome. All right. How I got started in this field is I went to prison when I was 17, had a natural life sentence plus 5 years. My father was murdered by an addict that was out looking for drugs. That kind of like set me on a road to going to prison. During that time, I had became an alcoholic at the age of 14. I was drinking from 12 in the afternoon till 2 in the morning or when I passed out. I did this all the way till I even went to prison. I was still drinking while I was in prison, trying to cope. Eventually, I decided I needed to make a change, wanted to stop, started getting involved in programs. I developed a passion for it, realized that that was more my purpose, and I've been doing it ever since.
I used from 13 until about 10 years ago, in and out of jail, smoked crack, shot dope, that's what I did forever.
Addiction is a battle, and how I got involved was pretty much through my daughter Christy. Christy battled addiction from a teenager until her adult life, and I'd like to think I was with her every step of the way. And Christy and I, we did just about everything, experienced about everything a father and a daughter could experience, and getting her back on the right track, and basically getting my daughter back. Finally, in the end, she did put her life back together, and not only be able to put her life back together, be able to counsel and help many other people. Kind of recollecting everything that we went through is a little bit difficult, but that's how I got involved in the scourge of addiction.
I have been in recovery for 18 years now. I've been working in the field for like 16 years now with the likes of Red and White Counseling, Connections, Olga Crea, Crossroads to Delaware, Probation and Parole with the Pretrial Supervision Department, also at RVRC, and now I work at Sojourner's Place. I'm a counselor there, as well as a counselor at St. Francis Hospital. And I also did a bunch of years working for the Superior Court, for Mental Health Court.
Give your assessment or your opinion on the current culture of treatment and recovery.
As far as treatment and recovery in Delaware, I think there's a disconnect. Treatment's main purpose is just to address the symptoms. It doesn't address the root. It addresses the symptoms of the disease. It addresses how the disease manifests itself, but it doesn't really get to the root and help people understand like why they are using.
My view of the current culture is opiate driven, kind of like a quick fix. So, we'll get you in and then we'll get you out into like sober living. There's not that much of like a long-term recovery option. There's a lot of stigma and negative treatment of people that are in that are using those kinds of substances.
There were things that worked, things that didn't work. First of all, being a parent, it was hard to know where to turn. And of course, we tried the 30-day get well locations throughout the middle Atlantic states. I don't know how many we went to, but the 30-day fix everything clinics or whatever you want to call them really didn't work for Christy.
I noticed that in the field of rehabilitation and treatment, the culture of the treatment field it's ran strictly by therapeutic groups, confronting attitudes and behaviors, not so much 12-step programs, as far as dealing with, any 12-step program dealing with AA or NA. It's more about therapy. It's more about group sessions, individual sessions.
And the reason why I say there's a disconnect between treatment and recovery, because treatment, depending on the movement that's going on within the community, will specifically focus on that movement. And what I mean by that is when the MAT movement started, whether it was methadone, Suboxone, Subutex, Vivitrol, when it started with Antabuse and then it evolved to all these other things. So once that became a thing and the money started flowing in that direction, it went more from, let me help you get clean and sober. Let me help you learn how to rebuild your life and live, because sobriety is going to put you more in that direction. Treatment doesn't focus on that. Treatment doesn't talk to you about rebuilding your life and how to put it back together, right? Treatment, it just focuses on the symptoms of the disease.
I think that, recovery can be cliquey, and that, if you find like your people, then that's a great opportunity to find like your tribe, and you can be really successful.
It wasn't until Christy got in trouble and for a crime she committed and went to prison, and God bless the program they had in Dolores Baylor here in Delaware, in a women's prisons, which strictly addressed addiction and recovery. And that, quite frankly, the 2 years that Christy spent there, however painful for her mom and her family, being in prison, that program saved her life without question.
And, and I don't understand why there should be a difference. I think 12-step programs should be implemented and incorporated in the treatment aspect of rehabilitation, but it's not. What works in the treatment section, I guess it works for them, but me personally, I would incorporate both. I think it'll be a lot stronger. I think it'll be a lot more beneficial if both entities will come together as one.
Treatment is going to deal with how it affects your mental health and things of that nature, but it's not teaching you actually how to live in recovery. So I think that there has to be more of a connection between the treatment providers and the recovery community to see how you can best support the individual, because you got people that do recovery and they promote recovery. Then you got people that promote treatment, think they're promoting recovery, but they're not. They're just promoting treatment, and they're promoting their treatment modalities, and that's it. And they don't leave room for anything else.
In the mid-90s, nurses and doctors assessed the condition of their patients and usually recommended physical therapy for issues that caused pain in the body. In 1996, American Pain Society President James Campbell recommended that doctors and hospitals treat pain as a fifth vital sign alongside the normal things doctors routinely check in their patients, which are body temperature, blood pressure, heart rate, and breathing. America's medical profession broadly welcomed the idea and began to ask patients routinely how much pain they were in on a scale of 0 to 10. In the same year, the U.S. drug company Purdue Pharma began aggressively marketing a new type of prescription narcotic painkiller called Oxycontin that it claimed was less prone to abuse or physical dependency. In 1999, President Bill Clinton signed into law a Pain Relief Promotion Act, encouraging practitioners to prescribe and administer controlled substances to relieve pain and discomfort. Congress worked expeditiously and named the 2000s the decade of pain control and research. Practitioners were encouraged to treat pain aggressively.
What's up, brother? Oh, you good, you good.
You in recovery? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in recovery. You in recovery?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got black key tag myself. Okay. Okay, you're a friend of Bill.
Sometimes we don't appreciate what you guys do. We actually are into. For instance, I have 16 years, then I can see the work that you guys do. So I appreciate that. So when I'm thinking to come back, I'm like, okay, he helped me out this way. So that's when I kind of like, I better stop. It's a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot to put up with.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Being in the trenches, yeah. But we appreciate you, man. It's us. We're doing it, you know what I mean? Everybody does their part, you know?
Yeah, I was planning to do 13 years. I'm over 3 years old, 16.
Okay.
But this is a magical part of this. When I went to, somebody gave me a book, and I was like, I don't think I have a problem with alcohol. I don't think. And they give me the big book, AA.
Right.
So when they give me the book, I said, I don't have a problem with alcohol. So I opened the book, and when I opened it, it was on top, it was like, me an alcoholic. Okay, I'm fine with that, okay. Right on the bottom of that, number 13. And I said, you know what? I closed the book, and I told myself, I have to do this. This is a sign. First sign. So when I went to an AA meeting, the first one, there was an angel that welcomed me. That lady, the lady that welcomed me, her name is Angel.
Wow.
That's it. I said, you know what? I'm not going to question anything. And that's it. I'm here.
Recovery is a powerful thing, isn't it?
And I was just like, I don't question nothing. It's just.
Guess how many years I celebrate July 20th?
How many?
13. Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
That.
Look.
Yeah, it's right here.
Love you, bro.
All right, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Have a good one.
You too. Wow. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
My name is Trisha, and my husband Robert is a person in long-term recovery. In 1995, he entered into a recovery home where he lived for 9 months, and he was able to put his life together. After many failed attempts, the 4 years prior, this is what worked for him. Fast forward, we raised our children, both work careers, and we decided that we wanted to share our experience with others. So we opened the Dexter House in 2013. We've had over 300 people pass through the houses.
What led me to recovery is I hit a rock bottom, and at that point, I was willing to be guided in any capacity to be able to figure out what was going on with me. I'd never had heard of anything about recovery. It just kind of happened like that. I hit a rock bottom, and I had to figure out what was going on with me, and that's to put it short. That's kind of what happened.
I've been in recovery for about 2 years, since May 14th, 2022. I say I relate to a lot of my other addicts, man. Just sick and suffering. Lost it all just due to my own choices. Thought drugs was the answer for everything until I came upon this program. Learning that it was about a lot more than just drugs. It was about healing. And once I got a taste of it, I've been here ever since. My life has changed in ways that I can't even comprehend, and it's still changing to this day.
I'm a recovery advocate in the state of Delaware. I'm a public speaker. I have about 7.5 years of sobriety. and I do whatever I can for the recovering community. A lot of people talk about the rock bottom part. The rock bottom for me is internal surrender. There's a lot of people that reach rock bottom for them that haven't lost everything. So rock bottom is an internal thing. And when that internal rock bottom for me and that spiritual deadness happened for me, that's when I started on my journey of recovery.
So in the 11 years that I've been doing this, I've helped people coming from, many different treatment centers. I have seen people come in from, particular treatment centers that were very, very successful. They were well prepared for their journey. And then I've had people that would come in and really didn't really get anything from the treatment experience. They were heavily medicated through it. And not necessarily always with, narcotics, but, drugs that tend to interfere with the recovery process.
The landscape of it, in the landscape since as long as I can remember, which was pretty much this year, like coming in, the detox centers, the rehabilitation centers are all not really geared on recovery, right? They give you medicines. There's some that equip you with knowledge of like what's going on with you internally, but for the most part, they're putting you on other medications, and they're not really equipping your mind with the change that is needed to facilitate long-term recovery.
As far as the treatment and recovery, overall, we could always improve, but I do believe that sober living, rehabs, and detoxes, I think they work the best if you work the actual program.
We do a pretty good job with getting people physically separated from drugs and alcohol due to places like Netkirk with detox, places like Banyan treatment centers, places like Bowling Green or some surrounding areas. And a lot of people think that they're the end all be all, but that's not the truth. Their jobs are to provide you with a safe location to get physically separated. As far as the other aspect of the treatment culture, it's a lot of medically assisted treatment now, and everyone calls it evidence-based treatment. And I actually believe in evidence-based treatment to a certain degree. Vivitrol actually saved my life probably for the first 6 months of my recovery. And I was on Suboxone for a great number of years. So while I'm speaking on these things, I'm also speaking from experience. And what these things did was keep me sick, but at the same time, they helped me. In the beginning, when they came out, doctors and all of that, and all of the evidence base back then was that these medications were to be given to you for 5 to 7 days, like Suboxone. People got on it for 5 to 7 days through the detox procedure, and then that was it. So now I guess the evidence base has changed the evidence again, and now the evidence went back to now you got to be on it for life.
It seems to me that it is very money driven these days. We've had a lot of the quality rehabs, what I would consider quality rehabs, close for various reasons. A lot of programs did not survive COVID, which actually really impacted the recovery community in a way that it still hasn't recovered from. We had momentum going into the pandemic. There was a recovery movement, and that pretty much put the brakes on it. So the treatment centers today, I would say, a lot of them are geared more towards continuing the progression of the disease of addiction and not necessarily treating it. They've adopted methods of managing addiction, which we don't necessarily agree with.
In the treatment field, when you hit a rock bottom, you need to take advantage of that rock bottom and equip that man with a solution. And when you put him on another medicine, whatever medicine that may be that nullifies the mind and the spirit, it prolongs the recovery. So there needs to be either a complete separate sector of recovery, or there needs to be re-education within treatment, like a full complete re-education of treatment.
I personally think maybe we need more sober living homes. I believe, and more structure with Oxford houses, I think. A lot of people talk about, when we go to these sober living homes, well, for me, it goes the detox, the rehab, or then the sober living home, and then the step down or the Oxford house. But I think what we forget is eventually people have to be able to go back out into the real world and survive like on their own as long as they still have that network. But it kind of feel like it just stops at Oxford houses.
In my personal belief, and it's not a personal belief, this is just the facts about recovery. I suffer from a disease that is progressive. It's a progressive illness. That's just the truth about it. And for me, when I get on a substance and I use it, and then it doesn't work anymore, just like drugs and alcohol didn't, and then I have to raise my dosage. And then when my dosage gets raised again, and I end up maxing out at the daily dose of whatever they're giving me on whatever the MAT is that I'm on, when I max out at that daily dose, then I want more. And then when that's not providing me with enough relief, I go and get some. And the fact is that I don't know. I personally don't know. I'm not saying that there's not people out there, but I personally don't know anyone that has been on high doses of MAT or of any sort that are living happy, successful, recovery-oriented lives.
Between 1999 and 2010, the use of painkillers quadrupled in the US. Doctors wrote an average of 300 million prescriptions a year, enough for every adult American to be medicated around the clock for a month. In 2009, Purdue Pharma's Oxycontin, an opioid pain reliever close to heroin, reached annual sales that topped $3 billion. At the peak of the opioid epidemic, 60,000 Americans were dying each year because painkillers that were typically prescribed for cancer and wartime wounds were being prescribed for chronic conditions like arthritis and back pain.
Rolling Hicks, I say no to drugs. Yeah. I learned from Whitney Houston. Print that. I love her. I miss her. My name Roland, brother.
Roland, Hans.
Zach, brother. God bless you, man.
All right. I love that hat.
Thank you, man. My sponsee made this for me. God has us putting a firm foundation in the state, man, so we got somewhere to go where it's free and learn how to live again, You
got it. You spread that word.
Oh, man.
I see you spreading the news. You are a very important guy.
Appreciate it. God bless you, brother.
And all these programs, they're integrated, which means the treatment is priority, like medication and all that stuff. Like there's no onus or there's no even desire to get them off. Like they'll tell them they're doing good, Yeah. And then they get out. And they go to the meetings and they got to start saying, well, I'm not doing, and they say it while they're in there, because we go in there for H&I, for Narcotics Anonymous, or any 12-step fellowship, and they're all abstinence-based. It means like, none of the programs that come in tell them that it's okay to stay on that. And Narcotics Anonymous actually takes a position. They have a world pamphlet that says you're not clean on MAT. That we can't compromise. The only way to freedom is through spiritual program of action, 12 steps in agreement with the program. Like, they'll never compromise. But then AA is like, well, they don't really take a position on the MAT. The system is about comfort now. Like the overall system. Like, you ever hear the term no pain, no gain?
Yeah.
Well, now the society is telling you don't have to experience pain. We can keep you comfortable, and it's pacification. It goes against recovery because uncomfortability always brings about a change.
It goes against a lot of things.
Yeah, but uncomfortability is where you change, is where the internal growth happens. Now, if you stop moving forward in your recovery, you're already moving back because you're getting to a point of comfort again. And there's always a next level, like ongoing change in your ideas and your attitudes. So if people are holding on to their ideas and attitudes about it should be this way, right? Then they're not growing. Like, and we see that in treatment, we see it in recovery, we see it in sober living, we see it in who's running the places, you know?
As of right now, at this very moment, the current culture of treatment and recovery, to me at least, seems to be absolute chaos. The majority of the people in power within government have no idea what to do with the fentanyl crisis. Things seem to be very reactive rather than being proactive towards solving the problem. The situation seems very political, if you will. There's a major disconnect between what is treatment, what is recovery. Oftentimes, I think the two parties don't really understand one another as it pertains to, how do we define treatment? What should we qualify treatment as? Who are the individuals that are in treatment? And what is recovery? What does recovery look like? And who are the individuals that are in recovery?
I was an alcoholic at a very early age. Dealt with a lot of domestic violence. Went into the Marine Corps, abstained from alcohol, white-knuckled it, led my life, had a lot of success in my life until at age 30 I went into a wheelchair. Lost the use of my hands and found 6 discs ruptured in my spine. Told I would never walk again. Operation on my neck, got my hands back, and in the process of getting my legs back, I wound up addicted to opiates.
I have been through the ringer in my life. I've experienced all types of trauma, any type of abuse you probably could think of I've been through, but somehow, some way, God saw fit for me to overcome all of that, and I'm here today to be able to help others. When I was in active addiction, I've gone through the prison system. I've done the 6-for-1 program in the prison system, and I've probably done detox 3 or 4 times, gone to different inpatient rehabs, and it saved my life.
I know we have a lot of people who we deal with who wants to get on the right track, and dealing with Firm Foundation, Horizon House, a few other organizations, we definitely are helping people try to get their lives in order. I feel like organizations such as ours, though, can give people the motivation to help them get on the right track.
Recovery to me is the bondage of addiction being broken over an individual so that they're able to function in their lives, but we're in a position to where the substances no longer have authority over us emotionally, physically, spiritually. They no longer dominate us. Our world no longer revolves around them, but rather we are able to live our lives out on a daily basis in such a way that we're able to be fathers to our children, mothers to our children. We're able to be sons, daughters, good employees, functioning members of society. Recovery to me is when we come to that place to where the drug is no longer our God.
I tried doing it on my own, staying clean. I could stay clean for a little while, but something would happen and I'd go right back to it. In 2 days, I should be celebrating 2 years clean. And happier now in my life than I've ever been. And I've got a lot less right now material-wise, but I've got a lot more now spiritual-wise, which is everything.
If I'm being honest, the culture of our treatment system in our area is very much so directed towards insurance purposes. I feel as though everything is about making sure that the dollar is paid more so than the actual help for those who need it. That's why I am grateful for the fact that God has placed me in this role, because not only can I come in the professional way and handle business the way that any insurance company needs it to be handled, but also so I can help spread the word to others and let them know that they're heard and they're seen and they're understood, because that's what I needed. So that's what I try to give back to those around me.
Recovery, is getting your life in order, is turning your life over to God and watching Him do His work. And you know, we have to contribute as well, but the big guy always helps us. So if you got that dedication and you know it's time for you to straighten up and get your life right, give your life to God and watch how it happens.
What's the difference, in your opinion, between treatment and recovery?
That's a good one.
Treatment is where you're still treating your addiction to the drug itself. And this could look like you're using maintenance medications to continue to, stifle cravings. You're needing to go into treatment programs to stabilize yourself or go through medical detox. Essentially, your drug abuse is being treated in either a clinical or medical setting or through clinical or medical means. Recovery is you are in remission. You are not reliant on the treatment any longer to sustain your sobriety, but rather you have obtained sobriety. You are walking in sobriety. Your life is a sober life.
Treatment's still struggling. Treatment's just a cocktail mix of hit and miss, whereas in recovery is the actual cure taking effect. Recovery is spiritual freedom to me. Knowing that no matter what comes in front of me, no matter what roadblock comes in front of me, as long as I believe that there's something else bigger out there that can clear it for me, He will clear it for me.
The difference between treatment and recovery is treatment has a curriculum. There's certain things that can be learned in treatment that are beneficial for one's recovery. Pretty much the generic triggers, warning signs, coping skills, relapse prevention plans, so on and so forth. Recovery is more of like an enlightening path. It's where spirituality comes into play as well as connection with community. It's more or less showing other people the way paved by those who came before them. There's no cookie cutter way to do it. There's suggestions, there's, guidelines that the programs try to abide by, but for the most part, it's a lot more relaxed. It's not so rigid compared to treatment.
Treatment to me is more of a stabilization phase, somewhere where you go to get stabilized, to recuperate from whatever you come from, as far as disease of addiction. And recovery is the ongoing. Recovery to me is the what's the wording? I apologize. The aftercare plan to treatment. That's how I can describe it. Treatment is where you recuperate, where you recover, where you get stabilized, and then going into recovery. The recovery process is the aftercare plan for the ongoing continuing of care for your problem.
Well, treatment is money driven, pure and simple. It's not based on the person. It's really based on how much money that person brings to that company. Recovery housing, you're looking at less than $25 a day in most cases. And that peer support is, to me, is unmatched. And it's a beautiful thing to see. But again, treatment has taken this stance that they want to manage addiction, and that keeps the dollars rolling. I don't believe in that.
The biggest problem is we need to stop letting the insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies and people who are very disconnected with what actual addiction is and how it's treated determine what adequate treatment is for the individual.
Opioid prescriptions in the U.S. peaked in 2010. Due to the destructive nature of opioid addiction and its impact on society, laws began to change limiting and regulating opioid prescriptions beginning in 2016. The first fentanyl overdose was documented in Delaware in 2013. And between 2013 and 2016, fentanyl overdoses increased 540% nationwide. From 2016 to 2023, fentanyl overdose rates have increased every year. During that same time period, opioid-based medical assisted treatment programs have become more readily available and accessible in communities, detox facilities, treatment centers, and prisons. The average substance addiction treatment center stays have progressively decreased over the last 10 years in favor of outpatient treatment and medical treatment approaches. 2 long-standing treatment centers closed down altogether in Delaware since 2020.
Started using when I was 11, got clean at the age of 24. I am a person who is in long-term recovery. I got clean on November 24th of 1997, so I'm coming up on 27 years clean. After I got clean in 1997, probably about 6 months into my recovery process is when I started working in the field of substance abuse and mental health. Of course, back then, I started off as a helper, and I've been in the field ever since. So a lot of things have changed, right? I've been clean for a long time, and obviously things are not nowhere near the way that they used to be back in 1997. The drugs have changed, the people have changed, the streets have changed, the game has changed. There is no heroin anymore, The streets are flooded, as we know, with fentanyl and xylazine, and everything has just changed. Lot more overdoses, a lot more crime, everything. Even the way that treatment is going has changed.
I currently work at Achieve Behavioral Health Services in Bel Air, Maryland. My title is COO, which I always tell people is a very fancy title for someone who's been sober one day at a time for over 11 years. I grew up in Newcastle, Delaware. Both my parents were addicts, both died of overdoses. I grew up very much in the mindset that recovery is not possible and people do not get clean and sober. It's just not a thing that happens. So anyway, I went through my life, just being a part of that lifestyle that my family was. Eventually, my life became completely unmanageable to the point where I'm like couch surfing, sometimes homeless, unable to find a place to live. After multiple overdoses, I end up in treatment multiple times. The final time, I ended up at a place with nowhere really left to go. Ended up accepting aftercare from that place, went to sober living for a year, became house manager for another 6 to 8 months, got some recovery under my belt, started working in treatment, realized that was my passion, and I've been working in treatment ever since. I've had titles of behavioral health tech, case manager, program director, director of operations, COO. I've worked in private insurance, Medicaid, I've worked with adolescents. I've been around the block. I also have a degree in theology. I would label myself as a Christian in my faith tradition. And I still try to work a program of recovery to the best of my ability every day.
I do believe, for one, that we need to meet people where they are, not where other treatment programs or providers or organizations is trying to take the individual. If we take a look at the relapse rate, and you take a look at somebody who's coming in and out of the same treatment program, you know, and they're able to go back to the same treatment program that they were in previously, and they've been there 5 times, like, obviously something's not working.
My belief is treatment is supposed to prepare you for a life of recovery in some capacity. It's supposed to give you the ammo and tools that you need to be able to approach any problems that arise in your earliest recovery so that you know what to do when a crisis comes. A crisis that might involve drinking or using or being in a situation that you don't know how to handle on your own. A treatment center should arm you with some facts about how to deal with that, who to call, where to go, what to do, and set you up with a plan, an aftercare plan or something like that that prepares you for success. And I'm big on being prepared for success. I'm big on having phone numbers, accessibility to the things you need. And I also believe that any treatment center you go to that's not giving you that on the fly could be doing better.
There's something missing, obviously. There's something that needs to fill the gap. The disease of addiction itself is not being treated. One thing that I know is that access to treatment in Baltimore is pretty accessible, right? So getting into treatment's not an issue. Getting into a certain level of care or treatment modality or anything, you know, we can make that happen, you know, but if we don't have the support that we need and it's well-rounded, you know, and people that are prescribing other people medications are not taking the time to really treat the disease of addiction, and opposed to that, they're just providing a substance, that's not the answer. You know, because at the end of the day, we're talking about treating the whole person. You know, so in my opinion, it's almost like some people don't even have a chance.
I think when people who don't understand recovery on a personal basis get involved with anything, it muddies the water. The way I look at it, and I'm going to bring in my Christian thoughts, when somebody walks through a door, whether it be the rooms of treatment or the rooms of recovery, it's our responsibility to look at them as a person worthy of love and to be able to meet them exactly where they're at in that moment, and to hope that through care, support, and love, they could be motivated to make the next right choice for their life. That is essentially the jobs of both people in the rooms of recovery and people who work in treatment.
At the end of the day, me personally, it took me 13 treatment centers to realize that maybe heroin was a problem, you know, and so I was in and out constantly, you know. There was one common denominator in all of the times that I kept coming in and out, and that was I never got a relationship with God.
I remember using and drinking and wishing to God that I could just be a normal person, a person who could wake up, go to work, come home, pet my dog, pay my bills, know that I'm about to make dinner, know that dinner was actually happening that day, right? Most days it was not. It was like a can of green beans that I just opened to eat with a fork that I found on the ground or whatever. And recovery is life. It's everything. Everything that life brings. It's loss of a loved one. It's like seeing a loved one celebrate something important. It's a crisis arrives in your family and you have to suddenly take 3 kids into your care. You know, this is my experience, right? Like, it's being able to do that stuff because you know when you wake up the next day, you're going to be clear-headed enough to have made a decision about anything, right? When I'm using, the decisions are being made for me by my drug of choice. In recovery, I get the opportunity to experience life in everything that comes with it. And that's kind of the beauty of it.
The Biden administration is gearing up to roll out a $30 million grant program designed to make drug use safer. The program will fund the distribution of, quote, smoking kits and supplies. Now, a spokesperson for the Health and Human Services Department told the Washington Free Beacon that these kits will provide pipes for users to smoke crack cocaine, crystal methamphetamine, and any illicit substance, and that the department would prioritize applicants in underserved communities.
In 2022, President Joe Biden made harm reduction the centerpiece of his national drug control strategy. We are now in a culture where these opioid-based medical-assisted treatments are not only being packaged as safe and less addictive like previous opioids, but as life-saving and healing.
The report fueled fierce backlash from the GOP. Let's take a look.
The new program will hand out needles and pipes along with safe sex kits, reportedly to make drug use safer while promoting racial equity. Also, they want to hand out the pipes so you don't inject. Louisiana Senator John Kennedy is a Republican on the Judiciary Committee. And Senator, good morning to you. Does this work?
Bill, there almost aren't words in English. The Biden administration just keep on rocking it in the free world. I mean, every single day reality calls, and the Biden administration just hangs up. I don't think when moms and dads lie down at night in America and can't sleep, they're worried about clean injection sites and sterile crack pipes. The issue, Mr. President, is crime. The issue, Mr. President, is how to stop it, not how to encourage it.
We now have millions of Americans on increasingly higher dosage of these treatment medications, with long-term physical consequences and lawsuits beginning to surface. These treatment medications are beginning to be prescribed to children as young as 13 and overprescribed to adults. These opioid-based medical-assisted treatment options create a physical dependency in people and a tolerance develop over time where more medication is needed for similar effects.
I've lost my significant other due to a fentanyl overdose. I've lost my brother about 9 months ago to a fentanyl overdose. I lost my best friend, TJ, to a fentanyl overdose.
The heart of our problem is exactly that. It's a spiritual disease that we wrestle with. It's a heart condition, so to speak, that, I come to discover that I was made by God, for God. And when I'm living outside of that, I'm trying to fill that God-shaped void that we are all created with everything except for the love of Christ. I'm filling it with drugs and alcohol, pornography, violence, hopelessness, whatever it may be. Trying to fill this void. However, when I surrender and I realize that God truly does love me and I do this one day at a time and I get honest, then the recovery process will start to happen because only the love of God can change somebody's heart through Christ.
What do you think about the approach of utilizing drugs to try to get people off drugs?
Wow.
So what do you think about the approach of utilizing drugs to try to get people off drugs?
Right, I think that's tricky, right?
That's a hard one for me to answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think about the approach of utilizing drugs to try to get people off drugs? What do you think about the approach of utilizing drugs to try to get people off of drugs? So it says, what do you think about the approach, this is the toughest question, of utilizing drugs to try to get people off drugs?
What do you think about the approach of utilizing drugs to try to get people off of drugs?
That's a big one, man. Oh my goodness.
What do you think about the approach of utilizing drugs to try to get people off of drugs? So
goodness.
See, I knew we were going to get to one that.
Oh, that one hits me hard. Like, that's the thing.
Speak as much as you want about.
Because I have gone through that and it sucks.
What do you think about the approach of utilizing drugs to get people to try to get people off of drugs?
I don't oppose it as long as it's temporary.
I don't know. That's. I really don't know how to answer that.
So, my personal opinion, right? I believe being clean from all mood, mind altering chemicals, substances, beverages. I believe maintenance works for a lot of people if that's exactly what they need. But I have always been afraid of people using drugs to get off of drugs because they can get hooked and addicted to those drugs that they are utilizing to get them off the other drugs. And I've seen that in many cases.
I think combating some of those early issues we have, whether it be extreme fear of withdrawal, which I think is common for most addicts, or whether it being to be able to function while not utilizing our drug of choice to the maximum that we normally do. I think that's all beneficial to get us to the next place, right?
So when I think about that question, I think about, one thing that I think about is how they're not treating the actual disease of addiction because they're just medicating everybody. They're just giving everybody pills or whatever it is, and there's no treatment there.
What do you think about the idea of trying to use drugs to get people off of drugs?
To use drugs?
Does that make sense?
No, it's like I'm using a gun and it shows you like, hey brother, I'm gonna rob you to make you start robbing people.
Yeah.
You can't do that. The only way that our people can get off these drugs is by returning back to the Lord. By the Spirit is the only way that our people can really get off them drugs and repent and just come back to serving Him. Right? It's by the Spirit of the Most High.
One of the most precious things to me as a pastor in preaching about the gospel is this word called freedom. Galatians 5:1 says it is for freedom that Christ has set us free. So I believe that God desires each and every one of us to live free lives in joy and in fullness and true freedom that's only found in Jesus. And so when I hear about treating drug problems with drugs, to me, my hope for everybody is that they would find true freedom apart from any substance, because I believe that without those substances will you only ever be able to experience the freedom that God has for you in full.
For me, when I sit there and I think about medication-assisted treatment, I understand its purpose. I understand that for some people, it's necessary in the beginning, but after a while, recovery has to be able to kick in.
I'm very much against it. I'm very much against it because at the end of the day, if someone's going to get sober or clean, or if someone's going to use, they're going to use regardless of what anyone tries to interfere and do.
I mean, yeah, they drug test you and whatnot, but still, you can still use it or whatever. People will use fake pee sometimes to be able to get it, and then they can sell it, or they're abusing that drug. Also, same with methadone clinics. People are still using drugs while they get methadone, and they drug test you. And from my personal experience, I have done that and seen it all around, and it honestly is upsetting.
I don't believe that they are meant to be permanent fixes. Sometimes what I've seen working in the MAT clinic is the MAT can become more crippling than the original drug that the person was on.
My feeling on that question is, again, not cookie cutter. I think if it's needed in the beginning, like anything, it needs to have an exit strategy. But as someone who has a loved one who's been on methadone for 5 years, I am thankful for those drugs. But yet the mom in me, the part of what I read that these drugs do to the inside of your body, wishes there was a better way, a different way, that when this person had started on this journey, there had definitely been an exit. We're gonna start here and we're gonna come to here.
If you're gonna put them on another substance, especially the substance that they've been utilizing for the last couple decades, you're delaying that transition. You're extending it. You're nullifying that man or woman again. You know, like they're gonna have to hit another rock bottom, or they're gonna have to have some level of deterioration before that window opens again, because they're gonna become in a state of comfort.
But I can say it has helped, because the second time around for me with methadone, I took it seriously and it helped me with my withdrawals and cravings. But it's honestly depending on the person, really. So, but it is tough because it's hard to get off of. They don't want to get you off of it. Whenever you keep trying, like, I want to taper down or get off, they keep pushing and pushing to keep you on that. You're not ready to get off, and it's really frustrating at that point.
What do you think about the approach of utilizing drugs to try to get people off drugs?
Again, it helps the disease of addiction progress. They build up a tolerance, you know, and we see it all the time. People, you know, the doses increase. It's very rare that you would see them decrease. You know, and it's all in an effort to keep them coming back, you know, be it to the clinic or to the doctor. And in a lot of cases, you know, some of these doctors were the ones that got you addicted in the first place.
The pharmaceutical industrial complex is actively normalizing terms like safe drug use, safe injection sites, and harm reduction saves lives to profit on all levels. We are at a crossroads where we can no longer ignore that history is repeating itself. Right now, there are more legal and illegal drugs being consumed in our country than at any other time in human history. The ever-increasing overdose numbers and the wreckage in our communities point to an enormous need for a principle-based recovery approach where pathways to abstinence and recovery support are readily available to everyone.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
My recovery journey started probably about 18 years ago. Kind of wind up, I wound up getting saved early, coming to a faith in Christ. I kind of went through recovery and everything, rehabs and in AA and places like that, and until I would really finally just be called to the church to continue to grow in my faith. And I've been here serving at Rock Ministries for probably 14 or 15 years now. It hasn't really changed, but it does change in seasons down here very often. Over the years from when I was out there in Kensington, there was a lot of abandoned houses and stuff like that here, and a lot of it was kind of secluded into them places. It's always been an open air market, but a lot of them buildings have been bought up, so it's all just kind of out on the streets now. A lot of it was down the Conrail tracks, but they cleared that out. So it's been this way for many years. It was just a little more hidden. It's a little more, so people come down, but to the people that live here, we know it's been this way for 20, 30 years or whatever. But it's just more, it's more out on the street. There's not many places to duck into anymore.
The city's trying to do as much as they can to fill in the gap, but you just can't fix something that's been going on for like 5-10 years.
Yeah.
What you have to do, you have to slowly wean people off of whatever they're going through, because the point is it's a spiritual warfare that's going on here, brokenness between home, between the slave to the world, whatever the desires happening. Everybody fighting each other. We just had a shooting the other day.
Yeah.
We need more support for as chaplains out here, not just the daytime, sometimes the nighttime, because the point is that's when all the stuff happening is really at nighttime, where everything's like demonic out here. And the thing is, we need more people to show compassion, not flashes, and we need interaction and connection. That's what we need out here in Kensington.
The system is very broken. 30 days really, I don't think, is nearly enough time, because there's the whole mental health aspect of it as well. Most people in addiction have, some type of mental illness, bipolar, ADHD, you name it. And you're no sooner kicked out, even if they get you on meds, the meds aren't regulated. The meds don't even get in your body and start working 6 to 8 weeks, and you don't know if they're working for you or not. So to me, it seems it's just like a vicious cycle. There needs to be long-term treatment, especially for the people that have been out here as long as they have, 30 days. They have to learn how to live life again. They really don't know how to function in normal society, because some of them have been out here, 5 or plus years.
Yeah. Well, I think the main issue is understanding human nature. And I believe that in James, in the book of James, Scripture tells us that we're drawn away by our own desires and we're enticed. In the Gospel of John, the word says that men love darkness rather than light. And something that the progressiveness of sin, which is all addiction is according to God, according to Scripture, is it's progressive. So I was doing what I wanted to do, and I liked partying and having a good time, and I liked living that lifestyle, when I could maintain everything. But at some point, I wound up serving it. And Scripture was what gave me the truth to let me know that it's progressive. And maybe it had a season where, like the flowers of the field, they look good for a minute, but at some point, the sun's going to come in and scorch them. And it's going to fade away. And that's kind of what the addiction became. And then the next thing you know, what was kind of serving you wind up serving it.
I'm trying my best to be in service 24/7, because the point is, I know where I used to be. I used to be homeless. I used to be able to reach out to people where I was at. Just like Apostle Paul, I became all things to help other people. So again, I became weak. So I looked at my brother and sister, because I know they are hurting and they're broken, and they need more support for as mental health behavior, and they need people that make connection. The key part, we make a connection to our brothers and sisters. And the greatest gift we give anybody is love out here, because the point is, I may not could do but much, but I can share them love. And what happened when people start healing from the inside out.
I talk to a lot of people in rehabs and stuff like that, and I say, well, who can change your heart's desires? If I'm drawn away by my own desires and this is where my desires keep leading me, well, who can do that? I said, and not that counselors didn't help me along the way, but at the end of the day, if the heart's desire doesn't change, I'm still gonna find a way to do me. Right, and in all absurd ways, I tried to make my way work, but it didn't work. And what I found is God actually says He'll change your heart's desires. His word says it'll take your heart of stone and He'll give you a heart of flesh. And I tell people a lot, I found freedom because my desire isn't to do the things I used to do. I'm not just staying sober because it's detrimental to my life. I just don't desire to go use anymore.
We're never going to clean this up and get these people off the streets unless they handle the open air drug market. It's just a vicious cycle. You can just come down, buy, use. I mean, there's people on every corner, and they're not getting arrested for selling. It's just people know they can come here, get drugs. They're not getting arrested. There's drug addicts everywhere. There's drug addicts. My daughter, we're from Brookhaven, Pennsylvania, but you don't see this because our police department and our town would never allow it.
One thing that's definitely changed is the outlook for, especially people that maybe do heroin. None of it's heroin anymore, and flesh-eating stuff, and it's definitely harder than it was before. There's just something in the drugs that are out there now that are definitely more intense for people in recovery. When I went away to be certified as a chaplain many years ago, is like a chaplain walks into the wilderness with someone. We go into the depths of whatever the horrific situation is, whatever, the tragic trauma, whatever the word is that you want to use. And we kind of learn to walk people out in a healthy way. And I don't care where that starts. Even for me, like, I'm not against method. I'm against what it's become sometimes. If somebody starts a little deeper, well, that means you just got to walk them out a little bit deeper. But there's got to be a plan to get off of it. It's not, I don't think the solution is going from the bondage of one thing to another. But that at the same time doesn't mean that, doctors are here for a reason. Sometimes people may have mental illnesses and things like that where they need something. But what we want to do through faith is kind of walk people out of it. We want to walk out. We want to have a plan because I believe God can restore all things. And then at the end, when we walk and we grow in your faith, we come up with a plan. And if somebody needs medication, I just don't believe that they need something like methadone for their whole lives. I believe that men can, once we were weak, that they can become strong again, that they can stand on their own feet. And if it starts out there, I'm okay with it. But like I said, let's have a plan, because I believe God's got a better plan for people's lives, for them to be walking around, kind of in another state of mind.
When your loved one, friend, or employee hits rock bottom, surrenders, and is willing to check into a substance addiction treatment facility, what is available for them, and what are their chances at long-term recovery?
When you talk about recovery, and in my experience, I see individuals going to 1 month programs, 3 months programs. It's not working. And I don't believe that a person that has been ingesting drugs half of their life is going to make a change in 3 months.
I'm Kelsey Watts, and I've been in recovery for 72 days. Recovery means to me to live a lifelong journey of sobriety and have a life beyond my wildest dreams.
Recovery means everything to me. Because of recovery, I'm sitting here right now. I am a person that used over 18 years and thought I was going to die. And so being in this position allows me to be the voice of those who don't have a voice.
People are going to get clean. They're going to go to these programs. They're going to come out and relapse because they're not addressing their root issues. They're not addressing the reason why they're addicted or why they're broken. And I just think that there's just not going to be a success. I think the rate of addiction is going to continue to rise. But once we start getting into long-term treatment, we're going to see way more success stories. We're going to see people that are actually healing, and we're going to see people having successes rather than coming out and being in that revolving door, returning back into the streets, returning back into using again.
The difference between treatment and recovery is that you just get treatment, rehabilitate to who you need to be. Recovery means sustaining that for the rest of your life.
Treatment is when individuals come in to a facility like mine, and our job is get the individuals stabilized so they can continue their journey of recovery. So we treat the symptoms, we treat the disease of addiction. It's like going into the emergency room. Everyone that walks into my facility is in critical condition. And our job here is to make sure that we, stop the symptoms or slow down the symptoms to allow them to start healing, not only physically, but emotionally and spiritually, so they can start their journey or continue their journey of recovery.
Do you think that Big Pharma, his goal is to see people in recovery?
I don't. I feel like they like to see people continue on maintenance, and having people continue relapse makes them money so that they can keep their business open.
Today, treatment centers fall into one or two categories: for-profit and non-profit institutions. For-profit treatment centers have adapted to fit the standards that insurance companies set for length of stay, medications administered, and outpatient treatment and counseling. These treatment centers are beyond limited to what they can offer in a typical 30-day inpatient stay.
Residential drug treatment centers are doing big business because of the growing opioid crisis.
Yeah, those facilities routinely charge a patient's insurance company thousands of dollars a day for treatment.
Yeah, but I-Team investigator Adam Molser uncovered not all of those charges are justified, and they may be helping to drive up insurance rates for all of us.
This time period would qualify as a detox period for anyone who is physically separated from all narcotics.
Anyone can just have a pain and then prescribe something, and it leads to way more than it should. And no one's really there to back them up or help them get off of it.
The approach of these treatment centers has shifted to a comfort culture where medications and curriculum are used to pacify and occupy the clients.
My thoughts on Big Pharma are when you create a disease and then you create a cure, there has to be some kind of liability there. There just has to. I think Big Pharma, one of the many problems that they did was, incentivizing prescription writing. If you don't need it, why are you writing a prescription, and why is anybody getting a trip, making money, all those things off of it? It should be criminal. And more than anything, Big Pharma has killed untold amounts of people, but yet they still continue to post big earnings. Their profits every quarter are astronomical. Why is there no Big Pharma treatment center? If you think about it, the amount of money, if they just took 1% of their profits and put them into a treatment center, it would look like the Taj Mahal of treatment centers. And yet there are none that I know of.
The discharge recommendation is to continue outpatient counseling and treatment medication. The entire course of treatment is influenced by what the insurance companies will pay for and the overall profitability of the facility.
Unfortunately, we've come a long way with a lot of things, but when it's a business, it's a business. And there's so many people, and I don't doubt anybody's desire to help people, but for me, myself, I was put on a lot of things, and I didn't need to continue to be on them. But now it's become something that's just enabling people. Now they give out crack pipes too, and nobody seems to know why they're doing that or what that's preventing. And to me, it's like, hey, we need to continue to help, and I don't want to fight against or, I'm not here to do that or to make anybody wrong or right, but sometimes if I see something and it doesn't seem to be effective, or it's making the condition worse, or it's bringing more people in to want to just come here because it's become easy here, well, then I think we need to take a look at it and say, okay, well, this really isn't working anymore.
These facilities track treatment recidivism, where clients repeat the treatment stay. This model encourages a facility, medication, and personal reliance that is very good for the business of treatment and not so effective for the clients.
So when I think about the pharmaceutical industry, I'm reminded that they're looking at things from a very, very, very bird's eye view. And there is such a lack of an industry, such as the size of the pharmaceutical industry, to really think about people on a case-by-case basis. People are real people. One person, one person, one person. The pastor of Reach Church, and we value reaching one person at a time with the message of Jesus. And I think that the pharmaceutical industry and their approach to the problems, they're looking at it from just quick fixes of a big, huge group of people, really all people, all the people that struggle with these issues. They're looking at solutions that can just address things and cover the blanket of everybody all at once.
Nonprofit treatment centers are at the mercy of the stream of funding they are connected to. Due to the approach of the federal and state agencies, most of the funding comes with stipulations on treatment approaches. That means treatment medications must be offered or the funding isn't given.
The pharmaceutical influence is, to me, personally, being a man in recovery, or a man of God, being a child of God, being redeemed, being set free, I'm offended that it's all about money. It's all about money. We know now that a big part of this opioid epidemic that has started was doctor generated. It was because of pain management. It was because, a new drug came out on the market and they were promoting this drug, but they weren't talking about the side effects. They weren't talking about, the addictive nature to it. And then all of a sudden, the government hammered down on the laws and such, and then they started cutting people off. And now what? Now they have to do what I used to do in street pharmaceuticals. But their life is still a wreck, and they weren't doing anything like I was. They were doing what the doctor told them to do. So it's almost like, in some cases, we trusted somebody with our lives, and they sold their soul for the money.
This has created a vacuum where there is only two uncompromised treatment options in Delaware, and they are both faith-based nonprofits. And because of this, the pharmaceutical industrial complex has a stranglehold on treatment options in Delaware.
Substitution is never going to help you. You know what I mean? I'm going to have to deal with my addiction one way or the other. And I'm going to have to face it and recover, or I'm not. Yeah. And I'm going to, because it's all necessary. I was on methadone, I was on Suboxone, all necessary. Yeah. I was never on methadone going, I'm clean. I was never walking around sitting in rooms of recovery going, I'm clean. It just doesn't, it wasn't able, my spirit didn't let me.
Yeah, my best friend, we used together, we got clean together. We were clean for 12 years, 13 years. When she had 12 years, she called me, she told me she relapsed. And then she went back to using for a while, and then she got on Suboxone. And it really did something to my spirit, you know what I mean? But on the flip side of that, this is my best friend, so I'm trying to be as supportive as I possibly can. And and unfortunately through the years we drifted apart, and it, put a wedge in our relationship. But she stayed on Suboxone for 11 years. And then one day I got the call, and she called me, and thank God that it wasn't the call that, something horrible, but she called me and said, I'm ready to do something different. Like, I want to be clean, right?
Outpatient treatment clinics and outpatient counseling options have exploded over the last 10 years. The insurance company's willingness to pay for this option has influenced the growth of these treatment options.
I think when policy is created from a higher place that has no one in recovery involved in the decision, it messes things up. And I've experienced this firsthand. Sober Living I went to was a nonprofit. The board of that place had no one in recovery in it. It tanked. They stopped seeing what recovery was. They started wanting people to have a year clean and sober before they actually went to sober living. Well, where are they going to go for that year? You know what I mean? While they're waiting, they're going to live on the street and call every single day? Bad idea, right? So what's that? That's them not listening to a voice in recovery. That's also a group of people pretty much stigmatizing people in recovery, right? Because they don't want their input. I think if we're going to get these policies that come down from the government or policies that come from somewhere else, it's of the utmost importance that a person in recovery has some say in what's happening there. That's my thoughts. And I think that doesn't happen enough.
There are more medication-based treatment options in our state than ever before, and you can even have it delivered to your door. It is very common for people to be on these drug regimens for 5 to 15 years.
You know, that's the first thing they want to do is throw opioids at people. And as we see what this addiction, this opioid addiction can do to people. It's terrible. I understand in some cases it's needed, but once people start taking advantage and misusing them opioids, it's something. Like I said, I've been in this for almost 6 years now, and just some of the stories that I've heard, and most of it starts with the opioid dependence. And once them opioids are up, that's when people have to start resorting to other things for that pain. And I've just seen a lot of bad things start with opioids. Not saying they're all bad, but it's not a good thing for me.
Medical-assisted treatment options are now available in all adult correction institutions in Delaware. Acceptable dosages continue to be increased, and we are seeing these treatment medications being sold on the street illegally.
I definitely believe that, series of events that occurred years ago have led to where we're at today with the fentanyl and the methadone and other, big medications that currently a lot of people are struggling with. I feel as though it's a big money pusher. I feel as though it has created a culture that we live in today. And, I feel like it's trying to take over every route of escape that a person can possibly create for themselves, so they have no other way out.
There is not one medical facility dedicated solely to safely tapering people off these treatment drugs and connecting them to recovery support in Delaware.
I'm speaking from my own personal feelings. I think the intention from a pharmaceutical perspective is not to get people off drugs, but to keep people on drugs and keep them spending money.
Those who want to stop taking these treatment drugs have to fight against the grain at existing treatment facilities to be taken off. We have the medical technology to safely detox people off of these treatment drugs. However, it rarely occurs.
Personally, I think the pharmaceutical industry needs to back off because they're part of the reason it's gotten as bad as it has. Chemicals can't fix everything. Science can't fix everything. There's only one thing that I've ever seen that can fix everything. And it's spiritual.
In Delaware, this reliant, symptom-based treatment culture has carried over into the free transitional housing models. These homes have become extensions of the treatment centers, offering extended stays with case management, transportation, and access to medical-assisted treatment.
I believe some medication helps. Some may need it, but me personally, I believe sometimes it's all a money thing. The world runs off it, and it's a constant circle. When somebody is going through things or going in their addiction, the first thing they want to recommend is a drug.
With all these resources and support, there is no emphasis on getting physically separated from opioid-based treatment medications.
Most people, including myself, jumped on to MAT due to fear. You know, not wanting to lose an arm, not wanting to die. And is that what they say? Well, like fentanyl, like when that was hitting the streets, like people were dying left and right. It was first in fake pills. And so then, I mean, now there's xylazine in it, you know, it's become even more toxic. And so there's just so many people on MAT and there's so much money that's made there. They're pushing it so hard. They can't make it any more obvious.
Learning personal responsibility in the recovery process is not optional. It is fundamental to healing and growth. There is a focus on learning many other skills outside surrendering to recovery, and often principle-based teaching is kept out of the programming.
I believe that they should be given all of the information as far as what recovery paths exist, the good, the bad, and I honestly believe that if they had all the information, that the majority of them wouldn't choose certain treatment methods. You know, a lot of them are trying to avoid withdrawal, and they get trapped in these programs where they are unaware that the withdrawal is so much worse than what they would have experienced otherwise. So, yeah.
In Delaware, there is not one uncompromised principle-based recovery home. All houses must accept people on treatment drugs. The messaging to the men and women is that they cannot recover and that treatment is the best option they can do.
Well, the pharmaceutical industry, again, in my political campaigns, I talked about this a lot. I mean, we are talking about billions of dollars in that industry. You know, it's profit driven. They want to make as much money as they possibly can. And I think that as we've seen in legal drugs that supposedly help people, pain and other, and obviously in addiction now, there's drugs that kind of keep people, as I said earlier, in limbo. I really think their interest is pharmaceutical industry. I can't speak for every single company, but again, their interest has been in making money and continuing to make money. I don't want to scapegoat them because, you know, people have a choice to take a drug or not take a drug, and the ultimate responsibility is with the individual.
Mixed messages create confusion and low self-esteem. When someone uses another substance on treatment drugs, they are told they relapsed.
The big pharma's intention for creating, developing all these so-called legal prescriptions and medicine to people is more political. I believe it's more about money. I really think it's causing more harm than good. And you know, you have people that are struggling with these substance abuse disorders and even mental illness and alcohol abuse, and you know, accepting what the big pharmas are doing and actually pushing in the stores and pushing in the streets and abusing them. So I honestly I was never a big fan of the big pharma people. I believe this is about greed. I believe it's about I believe it's a lot about eradication, and I definitely believe it's about money. I don't think their intentions is actually to help anybody, and that's my personal opinion.
Here's the truth. If you were never in recovery, you can't relapse because you never stopped taking drugs in the first place.
I think there should be options for people that maybe you don't have to, because I feel like some of that's pushed on people too much. Like, you know, you have to get on methadone, and that's kind of what happened with the doctor. He's like, oh no, you have to, and I listened to him because he was my doctor, you know. 4 milligrams, oh okay, and I was afraid that I would you know, that I was like something like I wouldn't be successful. And so I listened, and like I was gone, off and running, boom, like didn't come home, went back to jail, like, you know, like immediately. Like it was just so, those are my thoughts.
People are recovering when recovery resources, recovery meetings, principle-based curriculum, and connection to the recovery community are readily available in detox, inpatient treatment centers, outpatient treatment options, and all housing models.
I was just reading an article and they was talking about the opioid settlement that they had when they sued them, and how much money, the $50 billion that was sent out to all the states and things of that nature, right? And all of the stipulations that you have to go through to get a piece of the money to do it. Like, they have all these criteria, right? I don't want to do that. Why would you not? What I do works. So you'll get $500,000 because they're willing to go out and do needle exchanges and do all those things, right? Where my methods are more effective than they are and longer lasting if you was willing to support it. So you sued them and got $50 billion, but they still, all they did was just change the method that they're going to promote. And so instead of Oxycontin and oxycodone and Vicodin and all that stuff, so now there's naloxone, it's Narcan, you know, it's Subutex, it's Suboxone, it's methadone. They still control the entire treatment industry.
Despite the overwhelming influence of the pharmaceutical industrial complex on the current opioid-based treatment approach in Delaware, we have witnessed the healing power of God's principles and recovery everywhere they are offered as part of the programming. There are detoxes, treatment providers, and structured living homes in our region that have allowed principle-based programming into their facilities over the last 5 years.
The new people are getting it, you know, and like the people that are fresh in recovery. I'm not talking about the people that have been around for years, and they are too, but a lot of them are still stuck in their ways and things like that. And I'm just being honest with that. This is the culture that I see in recovery. A lot of them are stuck in their ways, but a lot of them are also changing. But that's beautiful that they're changing as well. But the new person walking in the door, actually getting the message and actually knowing what this is about, knowing and understanding what the recovery process is about, is working the steps, doing inventory on my life, making an amends, serving my community, you know, changing my perspective on who is actually at fault, which is me, not pointing the finger at everybody else, but actually saying, oh my gosh, it's not them, it's me. Having that realization that's the eye-opening and awakening, spirit awakening thing that happens to us in recovery, and that's the beautiful part. So when that culture continues in recovery, it's going to continue for the new person.
Every facility that has implemented this programming in partnership with Firm Foundation Recovery and the recovery community have experienced an improved culture, a more hopeful staff, a more involved alumni, and an improved connection to the recovery community in our region. This volunteer, peer-driven, community-supported, principle-based approach has been proving itself in the lives of the men and women that have been involved in this full circle service approach. Changed lives continue to strengthen existing treatment models through principle-based foundation initiatives. Firm Foundation Recovery will continue to expand their annual family and community recovery events statewide. These events unite existing resources across all levels of treatment, housing, recovery, and community while creating service opportunities for men and women to grow along spiritual lines. The Foundation's primary purpose is to construct Delaware's first self-sustained post-treatment long-term residential recovery center for men and women with servitude transitional living. This free residential recovery center will meet Delaware's most glaring need for healing and recovery while improving the overall continuum of care for substance addiction in Delaware. Delaware's healing mission is a For Delaware by Delaware mission, is completely funded by the generosity of Delaware businesses, organizations, churches, families, and individuals that support this principle-based recovery approach to our current substance addiction crisis. This mission moves at the speed of the participation of our state as well as the areas around it. We continue to pray that every level of community will prioritize this mission to accelerate healing and recovery in our region. Together, we will continue to help our communities heal one recovery at a time.
Never realized before that you were so versatile.
I got some branches be needed some pruning. Admitted myself, you can quit you assuming. Promised myself that I wouldn't, but slid in that DM that slid into something I shouldn't. I keep it vague for the children in music, but gotta be real about what I've been doing. I found a flower, then walked in the garden, but not in the one that I should be pursuing. I got me a soul tie, searching for something that real, but found an imposter, call the thing bow tie. Boiling up with this sin, it's into my skin, closing up both eyes. Throughout my walk in the being, I fall into sin. Do I even know God? Do I even know God? Look, his blood is sufficient. I fell away, he ain't looking me different. He threw me a party, it's already started. My heart is now guarded, I'm holding his tenants. I'm looking at me, can't believe that I did it. I'm looking at him and he giving forgiveness. I look in his word and it says that it's finished. I ain't gotta do it, he already did it. Back in the race, I'm keeping the pace. The devil been lurking, he's showing his face. Saying your place, I'm saying in faith. Do, air out the place. The Bible a weapon, it's good for protection. It guide your direction and make sure you're straight. Got intercession and godly connection that make an impression wherever I stray. This is the way, the truth and the light. It ain't too late, you can do it tonight. He ain't forget you, he left on the light. You turned away, but you still in the sight. Alright, rejoice in the light. The prodigal son has returned to his right. Turn on the stove and fetch him a robe. My son is now home, we party tonight.
My name is Matthew Anderson. I'm a recovery advocate for the state of Delaware, as well as other surrounding states. I do workshops in the community. I'm in and out of the prisons. I do wherever I can to engage and take people through the steps and help them to understand. And also, I'm an educator of the general public.
Well, educate them on this. What is the difference between treatment and recovery?